So what we can start to do is we can work on I have a list here actually. So the first thing is that I want to make it so that when we are in here, and let's say I'm on a room, I have this search in the room for this search component here. Okay, I'm okay with this. And then we want to make it so when we receive a search result here, and when we have this name, that I'm actually doing an external link. So I want to do a Angular CLI external link. No. Let me see here. You guys get your votes in? So we want to do Angular router link. What I want to see is I should be able to well, I think what we do is we do a link here, which is going to have an href equal to something. And I'll pass in the song name. And then the href needs to be https://www.youtube.com. And I wonder if I should be using router link for this. / my search result dot YouTube. What is it called? It's under search result video ID. Let's go ahead and rerun this. The backend needs to be running. We launch it, we log out. We log in. Okay, that's good. Now when I do a search in the room, it should post them as a link. And if I click on it, I want to do if I did my video URL and I look at this, it's youtube.be. And then also I want to do a Angular open in new window. No, it's Angular CLI. Demo has a native window which he's injecting, which is injecting this window ref, which is getting my native window. I knew that was happening. Okay. Okay. You can open a new window to a specific route using this browser window. Perfect. That's exactly what I'm looking for. But this is using Angular JS. Which is not what I want. Here we go. This is it. There's a redirect service, which is creating a blank post. I don't quite get it. Wait, hold on. So my let parameter equals, and then he's posting here to the object and the URL. Okay. But where is it creating the new? Somebody should know this out there. Can you use normal HTML attributes? If so, just add target blank. Hey Peter, thank you. How'd you get that? It's cool. No, icon. And then here we want to do a, just like you're saying here, add a target equals blank. So we search here for Miley. And I click on one. And yeah, that worked fine. Perfect. Interesting. I had no idea. And now I could say I want to bet 3 schmeckles and we could add it. It reduced it by 3 and here's my current value. Okay. So I think now we need to work on the functionality to make sure that everything is happy. That looks good. This is for retrieving my account information. That looks good. Now when I look at my account information page here, we want these to have a label, but it's not showing it here. I don't even see where it's saying username. Because I think it's because you have this 4. So if I was to scrap this one, and this one, it's still not displaying these for me as a form group. So do these need to be outside of the group? No, still unhappy. So it's that. It's whatever that class is, this SR only. And what I want to do here is I want to make a div row, and then I want to make a div, and it's a column class equals, and it's a extra small column. And I want to make it a 6, and then a small column 6, a medium column 6, and a large column 6. Like that. Now I have this thing in here which says that my form is inline, so I wonder if I can just do that. Looks a little better. Okay. This looks good. The next thing is I want to add over here a button which has a it's a not any of this stuff, it's just one of these. Now I wonder if we could leave it like this and then do a disabled. And we want to add a button here, which will be a type is equal to a button. And we want to say my click event is equal to a add song pool count. Okay, and that's it. We want it to have a class here of a button and a button default, or a primary. And we're going to say that this is add another playlist. We're going to say this is a add playlist count. Oh, okay. Well, Keith, you don't have any currency at the moment. You gotta play the game here. So let's try to win here. We'll do a vote for a L or a D. This is a tough one. It's not that one. Okay, let's play a new game. I could have got it if I voted D. Here we go, let's start a new one. Here we go. Hey Patrick, how are you? Boom. Get your votes in. This one here needs to be a this will be a playlist song count and then a playlist count. And we're going to say that this is a playlist song count. Which is that. And if I look at this thing, this needs to be a song list playlist count on application user, which also needs to happen here in the DTOs for application user. The view model for application user, and the entity for application user. Okay. Playlist song count. Okay, we'll change this one out, that one out. We'll say add playlist count. Add playlist song count. I want to say add more songs per playlist. And this one's going to be playlist count, and it's going to say add another playlist. Your room code. Okay. So now when we look at this, it is now collapsing it into one form group, which I don't want. I want this to be on the right. So if I was to remove these form groups and just had them as divs, no, that didn't work. I didn't like that. Also, I got rid of the ng model on this, which is the playlist song count. So we'll add this back in, and then I'm going to undo so I get those back, and then we can add this one in here. I don't know what this word is. When I look at my account here, this is called playlist song count, which is playlist song count as this model. And when I look at the back end, I need to add a migration on my code first context. So we'll do an add migration, and I'm going to say this is change application user. It says build failed. Playlist song count, which is called playlist song count. This needs to be a playlist song count. Like that. And I think we're good to go. Fallen Hope, welcome back. So we'll look here and connect it. Backend's not running. Now it is. So we'll log out, log in, and then go check out my account. Okay, interesting change here. That's working. My playlist. When I look at this, I don't think it found my user ID, my username. It says it's failing on read application user. Why would it be failing on read application user? But I updated the database, didn't I? Or did I just... I never added the migration. I just thought I did. And I never did the update database. Now we can give it a run. It should work just fine. Good, that's working. Here's my account. Interesting. Let me log out, log in again. Now it's working. Okay, so I should be able to change this to be like I am a hamster. And then I want to submit those changes. And if I look at rooms now, it's been updated. So we can go back to liver dev trying and do a submit changes. And when that happens on my account, I want to do this as a router link to be like this. To be home. So this way, if I change it and I click save, it sends me back to the home. And I can see it's updated my room, or I thought it was going to update my room. Because now it's not ever completing it, so it's when we finish the submit, which is called save application user data. Here, we're updating the user information, and then I want to do a this.router link. And now I need to look at Angular router link from Typescript. We can take a look here. Emperor sounds like a good choice. I wanted to do it from code. This is what I wanted to do. So I need to add in a router here, which is a private router called a router. And then this needs to be a router.navigate, and we want to do a slash and then home. Let's try it again. Change the code and update it, and it navigated me back, and this time it worked. Okay, one concern is this: when I'm receiving my user data on the hub, which is called this one, I'm going to break on this for a second, and I want to go into here and look at my user. Playlist song count is 0. Playlist song count is 0. So I think I need to modify those in the database. If I was to look at the entity, for room, that's fine. For application user, my playlist song count will be 1, and that'll be 30. So I do need to modify that in the database. So let's go to my FreeNAS. Think you guys are going to get it. You've got to guess all the way through. There's no way to solve the puzzle right now. You just have to get all the letters. And we'll connect up to the SQL server. Give me a second here to change my, put in a password. Well, actually, I'll wait until the game is over to do that. And then on the app, one thing I was looking at is that in my room, I have this search. I also have a search here called song request, which adds it to the playlist. And then you have a queue, which is also kind of similar. And it's just displaying your queued information. You win. Nicely done, guys. Nicely done. Okay, let me put a password in just a second, please. Okay, back with you. So we can look here inside of OpenDJ Radio at my application users and edit it. And so this is going to be a 30 and a 1 and a 30 and a 1. That's it. So we'll run it again. Where did it go? Is my backend not running, or is it stuck or something? There it is. Perfect. So now these are not going to work at the moment. We need these to go to a purchase page. So a cart. So I'll create a new terminal in here called ng generate component called cart. And I don't need anything on this at the moment except for, because you can only do these things on this page. So the only thing in cart is it's going to be whatever we're going to say is in my interface, we need to have a interface I purchase. and we need to have it here with a ID, right, which is a string. And then we need to have the item. So we need to have a interface here called purchasable item. And in this, it's going to be a numerator. So we need to have a enum here called purchasable item type. And in that, we want it to have a songs for playlist or a playlist. And this one's going to be a purchasable item type called a purchasable item type. And then your iPurchase will be a number of your purchasable item types. Like that. Yeah, the I means interface. I'll make a new file in here called enums.ts. I'll bring this one in. Okay. So the next thing was on your account. On this one, if they click on this, add another playlist, this we want to do as a router, same way over to the, so it's called add playlist count. And then this one here. Okay. And when we do this, we want to do a this.router.navigate to my cart. And we'll also pass some parameters here, which is we need to pass here the purchasable object. So I want to do a var purchasable object is a purchasable item, which is equal to a, and I think we had a ID and a type. And that one's going to be equal to a purchasable item type dot playlist. And then I want to pass this here as a purchasable object. So in cart, well, what you need is you need a cart service. So ng generate service cart service. And I'll move this into services. And in this, I want to have a list here of a purchasable items, which is a purchasable item array. And then I want to say add purchasable item to cart, which will be a purchasable item of an purchasable item, which we're going to do as a purchasable item this dot push my purchasable item onto it. I want to do a remove purchasable item from cart. And we're going to do this also with a purchasable item. in our case here, we want this also to have an ID on it. And GG's cart. Oh, you mean I don't have to type the whole thing, Keith? Is that what you're telling me? And here I want to do a var item in list is equal to my purchasable items, which is this, thank you, purchasable items dot filter x, which is my ID, is equal to my purchasable item dot ID of the first one. If my item in list is not equal to undefined and my item in list is not equal to null, then we can do a purchasable items this dot splice out the this dot purchasable items dot index of my item in list, and just one of them, like that. If I look at this one, we also want to say a quantity, which is a number, and then a unit cost, which will be a number. So I should be able to say get subtotal here, which is a type of number. And what we're going to do is a purchasable items. It's a for each purchasable item in purchasable items. I'm going to have a var total equals 0f, just 0. And then I can do my total plus equals to my purchasable item dot quantity times my purchasable item dot unit cost. And then I can finally return my total. Use let. Why do I care about it creating the spec file? Sorry about that. Thank you. Just too much C#. Okay. So now that I have my cart service, I can add that into the cart component called private cart service, which is a type of cart service. And then also on my account, we want to add in here a cart service. And here, we're going to do this new purchasable object, which is missing a ID. So I need to somehow get this purchasable object for when we load the page. So I'll just do it like this for now. The other one is quantity and unit cost. Now, do we know those? At the moment, we're just going to say 1. My unit cost will be 1. I don't care. We're just doing this temporarily. And then we're going to pass this purchasable object as a parameter to the cart when we navigate to it. And I'm not going to do it like that. Instead, what I want to do is I want to do this dot cart service dot add purchasable item to cart called my purchasable object. and then we'll just do that. Specs are used for the tests, great for test-driven development, but you're just jumping into the code. It's a lot of work to do test-driven development. Okay, so if I look at this again and log out and log in, is my backend not running, or is it held up somewhere? There we go. So when I look at here, we can do a add another playlist, which didn't invoke anything, and the add more songs on playlist, which didn't invoke anything because add playlist count, add playlist count. And then that needs to navigate to this cart, which needs to be in my app routing module. I need to have a path here for a cart, which is a component of a cart component. So do you use behavior subjects? I use subjects all over, like these. Subscriptions. I use subscriptions everywhere. So now when I look at account and I go to add more songs per playlist, both of these are erring on me. It says purchasable item is not defined. So just a second. That should be fine. Okay, so I want to do a alert test. Add song. Oh, this is add playlist count. Purchasable item type is not defined. So this is how is that not defined? But are you subscribing to behavior subjects or observables? So in my hub, I have some subjects here, and then I fire them here, and I subscribe to them down here where I expose them as observables. Is that correct? It looks like it's just fine. It looks just fine. What's the point of a behavior subject? So I'm just going to change this then to be a number. Let's scrap that. We'll just say that this is a 0. Okay. So now when I add more songs to it, it goes ahead and it shows me that my cart works. Good. But I was expecting an alert. Oh no, I took out the alert. So we just added this to the cart. So the only thing that I want to show here in the cart component is going to be the subtotal, which is going to be a, if I look on this, we want to have this as the cart service. I want to have a subtotal, which is a number, and we'll say it's equal to 0. And then on my cart service, when we, can't I just do a this.cartService.get subtotal? No need to define it as a number when you initialize to a number. You mean to 0? Not sure I understand what you mean. Subtotal as 1. That looks right. Then if we did it again, subtotal is 2. So that's looking right. So in my app component HTML, I'm going to add in another one here for cart. And now in my HTML here, I want to have a list. So like I'm doing in this one. And we're going to do a for each one of my, and if I look in my cart component, inside a cart service, we have purchasable items, iPurchasable items. So we could say purchasable items is a iPurchasable item array, which is my this.cartService.purchasable items. So if my purchasable items.length is greater than 0, otherwise here we're going to say nothing in cart. Otherwise we're going to do this purchasable items here. We're going to say cart details. And then it's interesting. Then we'll just have this one table head for the cart details, and then I want to this is for my purchasable items. And this one doesn't have a link in it, and it's just going to be a purchasable item dot. If I look at the interface again, we have a purchasable item name. Like that. And then also a quantity and a cost. So then the next one is quantity. And the next one here is cost. We'll put subtotal at the bottom. We'll get rid of this. We'll add in here the item name, the quantity, and the unit cost. And it's going to be this one times my purchasable item dot quantity. So now when I look at this thing, so you can isolate the HTTP logic into a service. I have done that. Subtotal equals anything returning a number instead of subtotal number equals anything depending on your TS lint rules. This must be allowed or not. Normally it would give a warning to avoid it. Subtotal equals anything returning a number instead of so just like that. Why Visual Studio, not Sublime Text? I like VS Code a lot more. Thanks. I remember being in a meeting with Scott Guthrie and asking him to open source VS Code. I told him that adoption would suffer unless they made it open source. A few months later, they did. Awesome. Yeah, definitely. It's really good that they made it open source. Did you hear what Edge is doing? I don't. It will infer the type from your equal statement, so no need to declare it as a number. Makes sense. Is English important in programming? Because I want to improve myself. I'm not sure. I think logic is important in programming. Okay. So if I look here, it says I have an unclosed A tag in my cart component. And this is going to say add an additional playlist. Oh, purchasable item A name right here. So it's in the cart right here. Hi, would you rather use Docker or Vagrant? I'd probably use Docker just because I'm a little more familiar with it. Maybe becoming Chromium will make it better. No, I didn't know it was becoming Chromium. English report, and there are devs that prefer local language, but I force all to use English in code. English is kind of the universal business language from what I understand. Okay, I look at cart, and currently there's nothing in the cart except for that slash. So then we can look at account. I can say add another playlist, and there it is. The cost here is not a number. So this needs to be this dot toString. And then can I do it with a, like that. Still doesn't like that. So in cart here, underneath a purchasable item, why does my code look so outdated? Off the internet, using the tutorials that they have. This is bad though. So I wasn't able to do this yet. So let me I still love it. Angular's dope. When we are passing this in here, my unit cost, I want this to also have on it my line cost, which is a number. So if I look at this now, my quantity will be 1, my unit cost will be 5, and my line cost will be my 1 times 5 dot to string. That wants a number. And this needs to come from the back end. Hey there, Montreal Chris Lee. How are you doing? Welcome. Is Angular still popular? Isn't React dominating? I think Angular is. That's my thoughts, at least. That's why I was picking it up. So we definitely need to pick this information up here from the back end for the purchasable objects. And if I was to look at this again, it's going to tell me blank expressions are not allowed in interpolations. So that's my purchasable item.line cost. Good. Okay. The next thing is the add more songs per playlist. So when I look at this one, we want to say add songs, add song count. We're going to say this is increase song count per playlist. If I look at my add playlist song count, okay, and this one's going to be a 1. Our quantity will be 1. Our unit cost will be 2. And this is going to be add additional song playlist slots. And we'll add that to the cart. Look at this again. Well, a lot of devs are jumping to React, says Sandra B. Sandra B, are you in our Discord? I'd highly recommend that you check it out. We're up to over 340 devs. It's a really great technical resource, and we would love to have you as a part. I have so much experience with Angular, and there's so many good devs available. Knowing both can be valuable. But it is, what's more in the projects and departments. They are very similar. While Angular is more opinionated, less freedom, which is good for some. It doesn't matter which platform you use. It's a matter of choosing which works best for the project. React can be a B to set up if you're using TS and no one likes Facebook. Patrick says I'm faster. Okay, so we'll add this. These are disabled, so if I add that additional song playlist slots, beautiful. And we'll do this as a 1 times 2. And we need to load these from the back end, which is fine. One thing I wanted to do was when I was looking on my search, so under a room, this, I want to reproduce this for the shared service of song request. Like this. And then we also want to add that onto the, no, that should be fine. Discord spam. React is meh, says Keith. He codes too much, says. Is it Facebook coming out with any new stuff? Oh, found the Discord link. I have not used Angular material. Is that something I should be doing? Okay, if I look here at my HTML, that should be fine. Here's the song queued. We don't want the link. Should I be using that instead of Bootstrap or in addition to Bootstrap? Is it still following the same process? Thank you, Sandra B, for that follow. I appreciate it. If you have any questions, pop them into the chat. Is it similar to the current process in which I'm building the app? So here, this looks good. And then we also want to have my here in the room where I have this, I also want to have a link here with a button. And we want to have a click event here, which is add and then I want to say that this is my application user room currency like that. Sorry, we don't want to do it like this. That's the value. So I want to do this as a, the click event is going to be add application user room currency like that. And then we want this to be my class to be a button and my button default. And then here I'll close out the button and add in this. So now it's telling me that I want to do this for my currency name. Okay, let's see. He goes too much always. I always recommend what you find you're comfortable with. A Fallen Hope GraphQL, or the same thing if you use Angular material, or nothing easier or Bootstrap. It's great. It's better than Bootstrap. It's like Kendo UI or Prime Eng, a component style lib. I've barely used Kendo UI. React and React Strap is what I tend to use. Bootstrap is antiquated. Interesting. Yeah, it's developed by the same devs, at least partially, and they have a high focus on their controls. So they are very good and work well with Angular. The new version of Chrome has implemented material methodologies. However, I like Angular CLI for the sheer fact of the ngGC new component. High quality equals lower frequency. Material IO and material.angular IO. Okay, cool. Thank you. I will be playing around with this. Do you think I should update my current app with this stuff? It's not adding this as a button here. Well, I was going to use a template, but this may be a better way to go about it. Now, why are my links not coming out here as buttons? No, the method doesn't exist, but it should still give me buttons here. Yeah, it wants this to be primary. You're telling me that I have to have this as the method in order for it to have the link? That would make sense. Okay. And we want to pass in my application user room currency here, which is a application user room currency, which is an I application user room currency, which we'll do as a console.log of my application user room currency. It is a property, never mind what I just said. It's still not wanting to display this as a button for me, which is really super annoying. So let me look at this again. If I look at my app component.html, where we have this logout button, all right. Get rid of these two. Works. Okay. You were very explicit in your typing, Boyd. I used to be to clearly explain, but due to TS rules, it's less explicit. You can change your SCSS to SAS, and ta-da, you have SAS. That's good. That's very good. This looks like this needs to be in a grid. So I want to do a just a second. So I want to do this as a table, but nothing else here. And then we'll have a table head with one of these here, which will say currencies. And then you're going to have a T body, where we're going to do this as a table row. Okay. And then we need to do this is not a div anymore, it's a table row, right? Where's my 4 that I'm looking at? Yeah, like that. Okay, now it's in a table, but it doesn't look good. So we want to do 1, 2, like this. And then I'll do a table row here. And then here we'll do another one. Good. It's good to have you back on Smite, Patrick. Still play it. I broke something in here. I have a feeling you do not have many extensions for Angular installed. I don't. I just started using it for this project, Sandra B. We started this project out, and you can check it out on our YouTube. And you can see we even just where we started from with Tower of Heroes. You need to install, it will highlight errors in HTML. Which one is that? Okay. So let me go back a little bit. Sandra B, thank you so much for that cheer of 100. I appreciate that support. If you have any questions what I'm working on, please don't hesitate to put them into the chat. Well, at least we got these back now. All right, Angular Essentials. Angular extensions, Angular essentials. Easy enough. Let that install. Well, let's try that one more time. Table. Move the table down here. Add in my table head. Add in my table body. Move these things up. Turn this into a table row. Get rid of that div. Add in a table row here called my T head or whatever. I forgot the closing div. Which div? Oh, I see what you're saying. All right. So now I'll add in another one of these table rows, I guess, right? Or is it just another header? Yeah, that looks right. And then I can do a table row here, and then I can add the next one for this button. Hope I don't break your code. No, that broke it. It wants to be in this whole table row. So, okay, we can do that. I'll just put it back to how it was. And then what I'll do is I'll just use some Bootstrap in there. And I'll just do a div, and it'll be a class equals a extra small dash column dash 6, small dash column dash 6, medium dash column dash 6, and large dash column dash 6. Like that, and then we'll add one more in. Same thing. Like that. Okay, now it's just put them next to each other instead of in the whole container. So that makes me unhappy. That makes me unhappy. Sandra B says, you know that table rows can contain multiple table cells? Tables are garbage. Hope I don't reload. Control Shift P. I should switch to material. I suggest learning Angular boot material, but don't spend too much time hacking with Bootstrap. Okay, I'll do that then. We'll use Angular material for our theming. So let's get rid of this Bootstrap then. We'll just leave it direct. Should be fine. I'm still using it in just a couple places. That's not very good. We'll have to play around with it. Sandra B, you don't need those instructions. Failed to compile. That doesn't matter. It didn't fail to compile. It's in my player component. What the heck? What the heck? What is going on here? ng add Angular material now on Angular v6. You do that and or the end, then whatever components you need unless you apply a theme. Yeah, this is TS-lint, right? Is there a way I can just have it modify it? I know I could set my rules, but Shift Alt F, Alt Shift Alt F. Lovely, thank you. But is that what's causing my errors when I'm trying to serve it? Change let to const. Yeah, but it's just not even loading now. It's not loading my app any longer. Now it is. Well, that's very nice, actually. We'll just swap these things out here. Okay, TS is annoying. It's just for standardization. So that's looking fine. Now when I go in the app, Sandra B, do you want to do some theming right now? We're back and running. Look at currencies, that looks fine. I look at playlists, I look at rooms. If I was to add it, click event. If I was to add it, click event. Oh, TS-lint, how annoying you are. Okay. Yeah, let us do Angular material. Okay, just a second here. I'll finish this up and then we can jump over and do it. If I look in this for my events, all I have here is a add application user room currency where I'm passing in void. And then I have my click event. If I look at that in the log, it is in fact passing the right object. So that's good. And I think we're looking pretty good right now. So the next thing that I want to do would be, let me close this out and close this out for a second. Open this one up. And then let me jump into source tree and close out the back end really quick. Bring source tree up here. Okay, we're going to go ahead here and we're going to say prior to retheming with Angular material. And I'll commit that out and push it out. Okay. So I'm going to take a short break. I'll be back in 12 minutes. When we get back, we're going to do a little bit of starting to do the retheming with this. We need to also add in a message service, but that's really easy to do. And then we need to, yeah, that's fine. We still need to add in roles. We need to do retheming here with Angular's material, which is what we'll do when we come back from the break. And then just a couple of other little, just a couple of other things. Is it on GitHub or something? It's on a private GitHub at the moment. So if you could stick around just till after the break, we'll be back in 12 minutes, and then we'll just jump right in and start retheming it. And it'll be a good educational experience for all of us. And then we'll make sure that this video goes up on YouTube as well. Thanks for staying with me. Enjoy the lo-fi. I'll see you guys in just 12 minutes. Thanks for staying with me.